Let me switch off my video. All right, we are live. And hello, everyone. Welcome to another community demo. And it's 16th of January 2025. Let's get started. So before the demos, if any one of you has any questions or any discussions, please share on the Foreman group on Matrix, and we will be happy to answer there. Or you can ask questions in chat as well on Google Meet related to any demos, and speakers can answer there as well. So for today, we have 4 demos, and let's get started with these. The first one is from Samir, and it's about Flatpak content updates. So Samir, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thanks, Shweta. Let me share my screen. All right. So today I want to go over some of the Flatpak content support updates in Catalog. I did a previous demo which had parts of the implementation. So I'll just quickly go over those. So for Flatpak content, we have built Hammer support. So what that means is you can create a Flatpak remote pointing to a Flatpak registry. We have some Hammer commands. So you have Hammer Flatpak remote create. You can point it to the Red Hat Flatpak registry or the Fedora one or any OCI supported Flatpak registry. In a previous demo, I went over scanning the remote. So what that does is looks at the remote Flatpak registry and scans all the remote repositories hosted on that registry. The next step is that you mirror those remote repositories into Catalog product. So there is a Flatpak remote repository mirror command. Then you sync the repositories. And one update here is now you can promote those repositories into content views if you want to enable lifecycle management for a host that is consuming these Flatpak repositories. This is only supported on the main Catalog server and not on the smart proxy. On the smart proxy, you won't have lifecycle management, and what that means is you'll have access to all the Flatpak repositories that are available on that proxy. So just be mindful of that. On the Flatpak client side, so there are some steps to enable Flatpak repositories. So first thing is you need to have the required packages. So you need to have the Flatpak CLI. You need to have Podman. If you have authentication enabled, you are required to log in to fetch this content. So we rely on Podman authentication for Flatpak content as well. And if you're running it as sudo, then you need this package. And this is to launch a new debug session. There's currently an issue with Flatpak apps which requires this. So for my demo, I have set all of this up. So I'll go with the demo setup quickly. So I have a Flatpak remote in my system. I can show it here quickly. Right. So to see what Flatpak remotes you have in the system, you can do a Hammer Flatpak remote list. Right, so and you'll see I have a Red Hat Flatpak remote in the system, and I scanned it earlier and I mirrored a few repositories. So to make this quicker. So I have the Firefox Flatpak app here and the Flatpak runtime, which is a dependency for this repository. So you need both of these repositories to be able to run Firefox, for example, once you install it. So this is a mirrored repository. There's not too much different from a normal repository. So and we don't make any extra validations around these mirrored repositories. The only indication right now is in the description that it was mirrored from the Red Hat Flatpak remote. What it also does, the mirroring, is it sets up all the fields that you need to be able to sync this repository automatically for you. And once you sync, you'll have all the content you need. All right, so let's see. So, and the steps, so we have everything set up on the server side. So what I do want to show now is how the client would go about using it. And in an earlier demo, I used Flatpak CLI directly on the command, on the client. So you have that available. So if you do a Flatpak, so you have a bunch of remote commands. Let me see. So you should be able to use remote add, for example, to add a remote on the client pointing to the satellite Flatpak registry. And then from there on, you can use the Catello registry as any other Flatpak remote on the client. We have also added a couple of job templates that can make your life easier if you want to do this from the server. So we have, and those, if you're setting up a new client, then it needs to happen in a particular order. So first thing you need to do is on the client, you need to set up a Flatpak remote that points to the Catello server. So the template for that is, so for that, we have a template here, which is set up Flatpak remote on host. So if I go run this, let me run this and hope that it succeeds. So this is my host. So there are some required fields. You need to specify a name for the remote. For the registry URL, you can directly use your server URL. So I'm going to do this. So one point here is if you're using Smart Proxy, then you need to add this to your registry URL. On the main server, you don't need this. The server itself can act as a Flatpak registry. All right, and you need to provide a username and a login for the container registry. So this will rely on Podman to set up the authentication credentials. This is required, especially if you're running it as a Rex job, because we don't want any prompts in line to ask you for authentication. So let me do that. Here I'll just use the clean authentication. All right, so here you don't need to do anything on these pages unless you need to. Okay, let me run this job. Okay, so this succeeded. Let's see the output. So what this does is it sets up the remote and then logs you into the registry. So let me see what my Flatpak remotes says on the host. So here you'll see I created a remote with the name Catello. And now you should be able to check what repositories are available on that remote. So you have Firefox and you have the Red Hat platform. So this was the runtime. All right, so now once you have all of this, you can run another job. So there's a second job template, which is solely to log in you to the registry, because once you authenticate your credentials, it has an expiration time. So you might get logged out. So there's a job template for that. Sorry. Let me see. Is it bringing here? Yeah. So we have a job template, which is just to log in. So this is also automatically done when you set up a Flatpak client, but you can also try and log in if you are logged out for some reason. And to install Flatpak, we have a job template, which is install Flatpak applications on host. So here, now I know that the client has access to the Firefox application, for example. So I can go and run this job template on these hosts. If you have multiple remotes, you can specify a name of the remote to use and then also specify which application you're trying to install. This can all be left alone. All right, so this may take longer if it picks up. Yeah, so here on the output, you can see it's trying to install the Firefox app along with its runtime. And this should hopefully go through. Okay, so basically, once this is over, you should have Firefox installed on your client. So this was most of what I had to share today. And then you can, once you have installed, you can run your applications from the client side, and it should work as normal. And I think I went over the differences between Flatpak support on the Catello server versus Smart Proxy. So on Smart Proxy, you won't have any lifecycle environment or organization scoping. So you'll immediately have access to all of the Flatpak repositories across all organizations. So just be mindful of that, and we'll be working to fix that in future releases. All right. And that's about it.
Thank you, Samir, for the great demo. I don't see any questions, so if anyone wants to ask anything. All right. Thanks again, Samir. Up next, we have the second demo from Ian on image mode UI update. So, Ian, whenever you are ready.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me just get my screen shared here. Cool. So, hey, folks, I've got another update on the image mode feature that is coming out with Catello 4.16. So this, what I'm showing you right now, is a work in progress of the UI that is very close to the finished state. As a reminder for anyone who hasn't seen the previous demos, this new image mode feature is to allow Foreman and Catello to manage bootable container hosts, also known as bootc hosts, also known as image mode hosts. They have many names. So I've got a number of hosts on my system. Most of them are spoofed image mode hosts, but I have one real one. I have this host called bootc machine. We can see it has some image mode information like the running container image and the digest, and the one that it would roll back to if I were to do a rollback. But what we have here is a new UI page that we're calling the booted container images page. And what this page shows is it shows an overview of all of the container images that are booted in your ecosystem. So we have a table here with some expandable rows. So without expanding them, what we see are the different image names, the number of digests that are being used within the image name, and the number of the hosts that are using this image name. So I've got 4 hosts that are using the Stream 10 version of CentOS bootc, and then I have 1 host using the Stream 9 version of CentOS bootc. If you expand this, you get another table below, and it shows all of the digests and the number of hosts using that digest. The reason why this is important is because thinking about how containers work, you have 4 hosts using the CentOS bootc Stream 10 tag, and yet they have different content. So this means that your hosts have drifted from what is the latest and greatest version of CentOS bootc with the Stream 10 tag. So they're out of date. The more hosts you see here, the more drift that your system has. So what you can do is you can use this table to identify which hosts you need to update. And we have hyperlinks here so that you can open up a search to your hosts. And so it'll show the hosts that have that specific digest. And so you can identify them, and then you can get them updated. And so this page has all of the normal features that you'd expect. You can search for hosts using this search bar at the top. You can use that to search for different things like the digest, for example. Let's see, bootc booted digest, and then you can search for a certain digest or an image. You can use the fuzzy matching to look for like Stream 10 or Stream 9. And you have all of the other host-related options as well in case you need to search based on some other host parameter. We have pagination at the bottom for if you have lots of different images that you're using. And there are some more tweaks we need to make to this page just to make it look a little bit more neat, but this is essentially what it will look like in the end. Now, once you've identified that you need to update one of your hosts, we also have some UI for actually updating them. So on the image mode details page here for my card, there's a new button here called Modify via Remote Execution. So if I click on this, it'll open up a new page. And I've already loaded this, but it leads to the bootc actions page for the remote execution job. And we have multiple actions. We have a bootc action one, which is an overview one that you have a selector. You can switch which action you want, or you can do the individual actions here. But let's do this one since it's the nice one that lets you select which one you want to do. So you can come down here to your action. You can pick upgrade, switch, rollback, or status. If you select status, it'll just display the bootc status information that you can already see on the page in case you want to see it more directly. Rollback will do a bootc rollback, and likewise. These are all one-to-one with the actual bootc binary actions. And then we have options and a target. So options would be simply any arguments, optional arguments that you would pass to the bootc action, and then target is if the action has an actual target, a required argument. And currently, the only one that has a required argument is switch, because you need to provide a container image that you want to switch to. And if you use the individual actions, you'll see the requirements become a bit more clear. Like if we go to bootc status, there's only options, no target. Or if we go to, let's see, rollback, there are no options at all, so there's nothing that you can type in. And then bootc switch, we can see that there's a target and the options. And so you can use this, you can update your hosts, and then that will circle back here and you'll see that your host will be updated. We did file an RFE with the bootc folks for having the bootc status be sent to Subscription Manager as a custom fact, and it has since been developed and I've tested it, which is how I got this information. So bootc will create a custom facts file under the RHSM directory, the etc RHSM, I believe it is. And that will make sure that when it comes time to upload facts, that those make it to our facts. And then we will pick this up and display it here. Yeah, and that's all I had to share. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Great, Marianne. Thank you. I don't see any questions in the chat, so if anyone has any questions, please share here. All right, then, let's go to the next presenter. So next demo will be presented by Maximilian on resource quota plugin. So whenever you're ready, Maximilian.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. So I want to talk about the Foreman resource quota plugin today. It's a plugin mainly developed by a colleague of mine, Bastian, and another colleague, Nadia, is currently working on a Hammer CLI plugin for that plugin. And it's to limit and control host resources on Foreman and Catalog. We have some upstream documentation already, and the plugin is part of Foreman 3.13. And we're currently working on the Hammer CLI plugin for it, and that's what I wanted to show today. Unfortunately, I think I angered the demo gods a little bit, and I'm not sure if everything is working as intended today, but let's try it out anyway. So what I want to do first is create a resource quota that is basically a set of resources with a name attached to it, and then you can use that resource quota to assign it to either users or user groups, and then you can control whether those users or user groups are limited by these resources. So for example, every user that will be assigned to the live demo resource quota can at most deploy hosts with 42 CPU cores in total. Let's have a look if this has been created successfully. Yes, it's been created just now, and it has the 42 CPU cores. Exactly. And now I'm going to create a new user and then assign the resource quota to that user. And let's check. Yeah, but unfortunately, I ran into some issues when doing the final preparation for this demo, but lucky for me, I was working on the documentation this morning. So this is my current upstream PR, or actually the build upstream PR that you can have a look at. So this, for example, would be the newest addition on how to create the resource quotas. So previously, we had the procedure for the Foreman web UI, and now it's also there for the Hammer CLI. But I believe in the meantime, I broke the test deployment. But let's see how far we get. So the user created the resource quota, and now we basically need to find the ID of the user and the resource quota. So one is 26, one is 15. So ideally, that should still work. Resource quota 26 and user ID 15. Yeah, that looks good. And we can use the -- login to look at the user information, and it should list the resource quota IDs, which it does. It's currently only the one that we created. And is the resource quota optional is currently set to no, which means it's mandatory, which means if that user were to create a host with more than 42 CPU cores, the UI or API would then return an error message, basically. Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, this is all I can share today. I can also post a link to the plugin in chat later, and a post to the documentation if you want to have a look at it. Yeah, input is appreciated. And yeah, that's about it for me for today. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Maximilian. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, about the links, yes, I will share them. I will add them to the post in the community forum.
Thank you. All right. We don't have any further questions on this. Let's move to the next one and the last one for today. It's by Quinn James, and the topic will be the topic will be other type support for errata filters.
Thanks, Freda. Just setting up the screen share right now. I was going to do a live demo today, but I realized my laptop's a little too slow to pull off some of the things I'd have to do, so I just whipped together this slideshow at the 11th hour. So I apologize for the plainness of the theme. Today I'll be talking about other type support for errata filters in Quota 4.16 and 4.17. I've shared a link to the slide deck in the Google Meet chat, and there are some hyperlinks in here that lead to like relevant redmines and stuff like that. So currently in Quota, when you're filtering errata type inside of a content view, many products include types that aren't the traditional enhancement, bug fix, or security. They do show up properly if you have no filters applied to the content view. You can see on the right side here, you can see types such as new package and unspecified. These are types that are given to us from the third-party repositories, in this case, EPEL 8. And they don't conform to the current 3 types that we support. The issue with this is if you add an errata filter by date range, which is also an errata filter by errata type, to the content view, these non-standard repositories drop out, or these non-standard types drop out, even if you have every type selected, such as having security enhancement bug fix. All three of those checked on your filter. The ones that aren't those three types still fall out and you can't access them anymore. So for 416 and currently in stream, we've modified backend errata filtering so that if the user specifically checks this new other errata type checkbox on the errata filter, the unsupported types will be allowed through. And this can be used in any combination with the other ones. You can have just an other type and filter out the rest. It works with an exclude filter as well. By default, when migrating, the other is deselected. So existing errata filter behavior shouldn't change for any users. Additionally, we've added Hammer and API support. If you use, it's not in the traditional types field like the enhancement bug fix and security, but it's instead a new Boolean called allow other types. And if you set that to true, it should be the same as checking the checkbox on the filter. Moving forward for 417, we have a couple other RFEs in. The first one is there are several places in the UI where errata types are displayed and we don't support these other types. So we will be making changes to support places like the host details page, errata pie chart, the host details content page, errata type column, and errata filter dropdowns, and then the content types errata page as well. Additionally, we'll be supporting scoped search of other errata types in 417 or further down the line moving forward. And that is all for me. Thank you. Are there any questions? Well, all right then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Anyone has any questions? This was the last demo for today. So if not, thank you all for joining again. And our next demo will be on February 6th. Please join us.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
All right. Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep, thank you. Bye-bye.